Meanwhile, California Congressman Ro Khanna also doubling down on his support of New Jersey House candidate Adam Hamawy. Hamawy has been linked to a man implicated in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Watch.
We can look through a person's life and find a statement, find an incident that puts him in the worst light. But overall, in my view, Dr. Hamawy is someone who saved Tammy Duckworth's life. He went into Gaza to save the lives of innocent people there, and I believe he has the character to serve.
Congressman Josh Gottheimer is a Democrat from New Jersey, and he joins me now. I don't want to pile on Ro Khanna here, Congressman, but there aren't a lot of people in your party speaking out about this man and his connections to some very violent jihadists.
First of all, thanks for having me. Obviously, this hits close to home for me. I lost lots of 9/11 families here who lost loved ones in my district. And the fact is, the issues that have been raised put up serious questions that I think the voters deserve answers to, with Dr. Hamawy and his connections, obviously, with the Blind Sheikh, with Al-Qaeda, and with other terrorist organizations. So I think it's really important, and I think everyone in New Jersey needs to get these questions answered. It raises a lot of serious issues here.
Now, we should emphasize that there's no evidence that he did anything wrong, but clearly people he was affiliated with were planning to do some very bad stuff when he was in medical school and he was hanging out with the Blind Sheikh and others. And he admitted so in a 1995 trial. One of the questions was, did it ever come a time where you were in the hotel room with Sheikh Omar and Ahmad Salem, and you were discussing dynamite and building bombs? He said Ahmad Salem was discussing that he could do that. So he heard these conversations. He did not contact authorities at the time. It clearly appears, at least by what he didn't tell authorities, he was doing something very wrong.
Listen, I think what you just read, and I know other people have read as well, it raises serious questions, and I know many of us have deep concerns. And I think, listen, it will be up to Dr. Hamawy to address those issues with the voters. I think it's incredibly important, given where we live here in Jersey and how many families lost loved ones in 9/11. I'm also co-chair of a commission that's reviewing the 9/11 report. And let me just 25 years after, and let me just tell you, these issues are still very raw here. So, I think there's a lot of explanation and a lot of issues that needs to be addressed. Just like, by the way, as you pointed out, with Graham Plattner, and where to say after the reporting just yesterday, listen, I'll leave it up to them because I'm not in Maine, but I'll tell you, if he were in Jersey, the abuse of women, let alone the Nazi tattoo that was clearly confirmed in the reporting that he knew about the Nazi tattoo, would be disqualifying. Yeah. So, there's a lot of questions here surrounding both of these candidates.
I want to mention something that's happening also in your state. Governor Mikie Sherrill's handling of the unrest outside Delany Hall. You favor what she did when she came down hard on those protesters. Does that mean you also agree with her vilifying and placing blame on ICE agents?
What I said, and I stand by, is the fact is you had out-of-state thugs coming in late at night and causing major damage and threatening law enforcement, pushing over barricades and coming equipped. These are not peaceful protesters outside of Delany Hall holding up signs. These are people literally coming in, what I think, with one intent, which is to cause violence in the community in Newark. They're from out of state, and they had a goal, which is, and clearly I have a real problem with that goal. And I agreed with what Governor Sherrill did, which is to stand up to that and say, we're gonna maintain peaceful protests. We're gonna protect the community. We're gonna stop violence and make sure that everyone is safe. And I think that's our job as representatives of the people, is to make sure everyone in the community is safe. And right now, frankly, until that happens, we have to keep making sure we take action to stop these out-of-state protesters from being bussed in.
Congressman Gottheimer, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.